Welcome to the Metamorphosis Project Podcast. I'm your host, Tenya Eickenberg, and this is a space where transformation begins. Welcome back to the Metamorphosis Project Podcast, and today I have with me Katharine Chestnut. Katharine, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really glad to be here, Tanya.
And I'm excited to hear your story. I do this podcast because I love hearing other people's stories. I love hearing how they were just going through life and all of a sudden they were like smacked in the face with something that was just jarring and eye-opening and awakening. And then they had to go through all of this stuff to try to figure out what the heck was going on. And then they finally figured it out. And it was hardly ever anything that was quote unquote traditional.
Yeah.
Because I have found that a lot of traditional means of healing, I don't want to say permanently, because as you know, as we go through life, we heal something and then another layer gets revealed and we have to heal that. So I don't want to scare anybody away from healing, but you're always growing. You're always transitioning. You're always transforming. So what was the pivotal, the one story that you're like, I've got goosebumps now. This is the story. This is the part of my life that really changed the trajectory of what I needed to do, where I needed to go, what I needed to accomplish.
So if I had to pick one.
And we have time, you can do a couple.
Well, so to get to that one took decades, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
I grew up in the Catholic Church. My mother got divorced, was excommunicated, which is what they did back in the late 60s. And so she started a search while I was a child looking for, another form of belief systems. Mm-hmm. And so I was exposed to that. I was exposed to her searching and hanging out with the Hare Krishnas, and I was eating all their cookies. But she dabbled in black magic, and because that was a thing back then too, and just learning about different faiths, and I was exposed to that as a child. But it also left a really bad taste in my mouth for the church.
Yeah.
And any sort of dogma. And so I grew up not believing in God, mm-hmm. and was very vehement about nobody's taking care of me but me.
Right.
And then I was going through a divorce with an alcoholic in my early 30s, and I started going to Al-Anon. And Al-Anon, if you're not familiar with it, it's a 12 steps, kind of like AA. It mirrors that, and they talk about God a lot.
Mm-hmm. They do. That's I've heard that is a core theme.
Yes.
In all of those 12 step programs.
It is
very
let go, let God,
geared. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was there because I needed that help.
Right.
But
yep.
At the same time, it was like fingernails on a chalkboard. Every time somebody said God to me, I had a
I hear you.
Very physical reaction.
Well, I think that as we've gotten older we're both Generation X, I'm assuming.
I'm a Generation Jones.
What is Generation Jones?
But smack in the middle of boomers and X.
Okay.
I feel more like an X than I do a Jones.
Okay.
Or than a boomer. I'm definitely not a boomer.
No, So sometimes I feel more like a millennial than I do an X, because I'm 1976, so I'm close to that end of Generation X. Um, but I lost my train of thought. I think it was like when we were coming up in that time period, 70s, 80s, into the early 90s, there was a strong push to go to church, to be saved, but then there were all of these other like horrible stories coming out of people who were just, doing such horrible things in the name of their God.
Yeah.
And I think that's what, whenever I would, especially, I mean, yeah, whenever God would come up, I'd be like, I can't put all my faith in something I don't know that much about on a personal level.
Well, and I became very much, I mean, I went into corporate America. I was in marketing and advertising for 30 years. But all of that is very evidence-based.
Hmm.
And I wanted proof, proof.
Your logical mind jumped in.
My logical brain
Analytical, yep.
wanted to be in charge.
Yep.
And yet, in my 30s, I started searching. I started my own search and read a lot of self-help books, which is what you did.
Hmm.
I went to retreats, and I learned a lot of things along the way. A lot of things that didn't resonate with me at the time, but I knew of them. And I I did remarry, and I ended up marrying a covert narcissist. Had no idea. Still very like I can't relate to not having empathy for anybody
Right.
and being so insecure. But when that all of those little things, particularly mindful journaling, what I call
Hmm.
mindful journaling, which is what I wrote my first book about, never left. They were always there in my mind, but I didn't do them because they were frowned upon at home.
Yeah.
And when that all came to an end, that's the big story because people all along the way had said, you need to do you need to do healing work. You need to be helping other people because it did really fill my soul and bring me a great deal of joy. But I couldn't see what it looked like.
Right.
None of it, and it was also kind of woo woo. So my logical brain was not having any of that. But when all of that came to a head 8 years ago, I started reaching back to all the things that I had done and trying them out and seeing which ones worked for me. So the first thing I did was I went back to my journaling.
Hmm.
That was the absolute first thing. Then I started to try and meditate again, which I had never been successful before, but mostly because I had the misconception that you had to sit a certain way and you had to empty your mind. And my
Yeah.
mind never emptied.
Right. It still doesn't, does it?
No, but I didn't know that
Yeah.
that that's okay. That's
Right.
fine. That's the way
Right.
our brains are made.
Yep.
It's the coming back to awareness after our mind starts to wander. It's being aware of that we're wandering off and coming back to our breath or a visualization or whatever it is that you're doing. And I discovered Insight Timer and
Hmm.
guided meditations, which was magical for me. And I wanted more meditations to help abuse survivors,
Hmm.
especially this kind of abuse, because most people have no concept of it unless you've been through it. And so
Right.
there's stuff there to help, but
Yeah.
precious little. And so I was like, well, there needs to be more meditations for people like that, for like me going through this. And so I became a meditation teacher because isn't that what you do? Um, and then I decided, hey, I've been thinking about writing a book for 17 years about the way that I practice journaling. If I don't do it now, why don't I do it?
Right.
So I wrote my book. And then I was like, oh, and of course, then my logical brain kicked in. And I'm like, oh, you need a whole brand. And because the marketing girl in me just,
Yep.
lives
Yep.
off of that. You need
Yeah.
a brand and you need, a website and you need,
Colors and yep.
right, all of this stuff. But that was my big turning point was coming out of that toxic, abusive relationship and knowing that all of the things that I had learned about for decades, I could take the things that worked for me and bring them back and also share them. I found the way for me to share with other people. And that was the piece that had always been missing for me.
Right. That's awesome. So what is it that you, aside from the meditations, what else is it that you share with people to bring them into their own, the only word that comes into my mind is bringing them into their own space.
Well, it's interesting. Most of the people that I work with one on one are people like I used to be,
Mhm.
you know, busy professionals. Just, I mean, people used to ask me, what do you do? And I'm like, I get stuff done. So get out of my way. If you're going to be in my
Right.
way, I'm just going to go right through you because I'm going to get
Yeah.
stuff done. And it's, I mean, I used to travel a lot. And I was constantly on my phone, checking email or responding to emails at all hours of the day and night because, um, I was very ambitious and I felt like I had to prove myself that I was capable. And of course, we keep doing that because we get rewarded for it.
Hmm.
But at the same time, there's this imbalance. And we
Yeah.
know it. We
Yeah.
know there's an
And we push
imbalance.
it away.
Yeah. And I'm like, I can't hear you. I can't
Yeah.
hear you because this is working for me right now. So we
Right.
just keep doing more of the same. So people who listen to my meditations are looking for something, whatever that meditation is about. Um, but people that I work with, whether that be in a retreat or one on one, they know they need something to
Hmm.
change
Yeah.
because they're just going through the motions.
Yeah.
And it's, they're doing things, but they have no joy. And
Well, that's
so
because they believe that joy has to be earned.
it could be that, or they're just they don't take time to appreciate themselves, the people around them, or the world that they're in. And I'm painting extremes. I mean,
Yeah.
certainly there we do appreciate, but at the same time, there is that I know I'm doing too much
But
work
yeah.
and I don't know how to move the needle.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people think, oh, well, I have to go on a big retreat and to the high Himalayas and chant for hours and sit a certain nonsense.
Yeah.
or the whole thing, what was that a couple years ago where you have to sit down and journal stream of consciousness for an hour every morning. I was like,
Yeah. I'm like, I'm
who has
like, I
time
can't
for
write for an
that?
hour straight.
Do you have children?
Right. Do you work?
Yeah. Do you work? Do you have children? Like
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. Society has made taking care of ourselves feel impossible because they make it feel like we have to spend a couple of hours a day doing it. And when you first start transitioning into that, it's going to feel like that because you're like, I need to journal, I need to meditate, I need to pay attention to what I'm eating, I need to drink enough water. It's going to feel like a part-time job.
But here's the thing is that those are tasks
Yes,
and
it's not a checklist.
you can't planner your way
Right.
out of chronic stress.
I love
It's
that.
I mean you just can't.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
You have to just take the time when you have it.
and when we're chronically stressed, our brains our brains are looking to survive us, which is why
Mhm.
our minds wander because they're scanning for threats.
Right.
Originally a saber-toothed tiger, but
Yeah. Yeah. But now it's our own story making that is the threat. Um it's the pre-conversations we're having with people to prepare to have these conversations with that we ultimately never have these conversations with.
right. And you know, it's like when we're feeling that when the threat system takes over, that's just our biology.
Yeah.
That's not me being weak or not having willpower or not being able to, right? Like the
Yep.
task list, right?
Yep.
Or,
Yep.
okay, I'm going to time block, I'm going to work out here and I'm going to drink this much water and but all of that. It just feels like another thing yet to do.
Yeah.
And what I tell people is, especially when they first come, is like, okay, where are you at right now? What are you doing right now?
Hmm.
And the next question is, what do you like to do? What has worked for you in the past that feels easy? And I actually have a quiz on my website that it's pretty easy, but at the end of it, there's a suggestion of how to start incorporating some form of mindfulness into your day, whether that be breath work or journaling or movement, whatever it happens to be. But I just tell people, like, start where you are,
Yeah. Yeah.
take a different breath in a meeting or put your feet flat on the floor while you're on a call. My feet are flat on the floor right now. My legs aren't crossed,
Hmm.
feet flat on the ground because that grounds me. And it also allows whatever energy I'm feeling to just flow.
Yeah.
And those are simple little things,
They're very easy, take no time type of things.
right? It doesn't require a whole lifestyle
Yeah.
overhaul. They're just micro moments of grounding and return to ourselves. And it ain't sexy. Like,
Right. Yeah.
here are five mindset hacks to do. I'm like, okay, we've all read that stuff,
Right.
but it's not always what's going to work for you. And it's also, you're not, most of the time when you're doing that stuff, it's just a technique. It's not, we're not integrating it. So, just handing somebody, an app
Hmm.
and say,
Yep.
go meditate for
Yeah.
10 minutes a day.
It's not it, yeah. Like what are you doing to process what it is that comes into your awareness during those meditations? Because I know even with guided meditations, your brain can still wander off and you
Yep.
can very loudly hear your thoughts. And so it's and I think that's the key thing that a lot of people miss is what are you doing with the information that you're getting? Are you still pushing it away? And if so, then you're just doing a checklist.
Yeah.
Or are you going, where did that come from? Why is this showing up for me? And what can it do for me?
Yes. Mindfulness starts to work when it becomes relational.
Mm-hmm.
Just what you're talking about. When you're learning to listen to yourself again. And, I was getting very loud and clear signals towards the end of that abusive relationship. I felt like physically something was crawling on my back. It was a message. I knew there was a message there. I don't know what it is right now because I couldn't hear it completely.
Yeah.
But if it's if it's just something that you're trying to do right, it's not going to work. It's the reconnecting in I like to call them micro moments
Mm-hmm.
because, like I said, our brains are going to wander. They're designed that way.
Right.
And it's that awareness of like, oh, my brain just wandered and I'm going to bring it back. That's the piece right there.
Yep.
It's the coming back to ourselves.
Yeah.
And when we have those little pauses, like pausing before we hit send on an email or a text, and pausing if we get triggered. And
Mm-hmm.
early days, I would get triggered by little things and I would excuse myself, go to the ladies' room and just breathe, do a body scan, just be in my body and breathe. And I may not be 100% when I walk out, but I'm more calm than I
Right.
was.
Right.
And that one little pause interrupts whatever urgency, right?
Yep.
Our threat system, it
Yep.
interrupts that threat system and it reminds our bodies that we're not under attack. So we can relax truly. And it sounds so simple. And yet, the more I started doing it, the more I was like, wow, I've been bracing for years.
Yeah. Yeah. You really start to pay attention to what was going on in your body because
Yeah.
you're able to have that awareness of what is going on in your body.
Yes.
And it's crazy when when you notice that first time that your body says yes or no. And when you start listening to it, your life begins to flow in ways that you never imagined.
Yeah. I mean, our nervous system is the gatekeeper. Are you the key master? I'm the gatekeeper.
No, Dana, only Zool.
um, but our nervous system is the gatekeeper.
Yeah,
And I guess we're the key master,
yeah,
right?
yep, yep,
We get to, we can help our nervous system by doing these little things. And once we understand that, start to do it, we start, that balance, that regulation
yeah.
allows us to see more clearly. And like you said, everything starts to change. It doesn't change overnight.
It doesn't, but I'm sure as you've noticed, as we've gotten older, the days, the hours tend to go by very fast, right? You think back and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So what you think is not overnight is it still happens quite quickly because I tell my clients, where are you at now at this age?
Yeah.
What's going on now at this age? If you do nothing, where are you going to be in a year? If you do something, where can you be in a year? And that is usually at the point where they go, oh,
Yeah.
like a year's not that long.
Right.
And it's so eye-opening and empowering for them to take back their power and in their health and in their mindfulness and their nerve, just taking it all back. And it's inspiring that you are doing that for so many people.
I like to say, find the gaps.
Mm-hmm.
Find the gaps in your day.
Yeah.
Where do you have gaps? When I used to go, pick up my daughter at school so I could take her to dance or choir or whatever thing, right? I'd be sitting in the car and instead of doom scrolling,
Right.
which we talked about earlier, uh, I would meditate.
Yeah.
I mean, I started to do that. Um, I would breathe and be present
Mm-hmm.
and, traveling a lot. I would journal on airplanes or
Yeah.
now when I'm traveling, I'll go, I'm standing at the gate waiting around with everybody else to get on. And I put my noise canceling headset on and I'll just breathe.
Mm-hmm.
I'll close my eyes and I will breathe and I will be in that moment. So those little
Micro
gaps,
moments. Yeah.
yeah, it's the micro moments, but I'm taking advantage of just the little gaps
Yep.
that just show up in my day because they do for
They
all
do.
of us.
Yep. Yeah, they are going to show up when you're in the line to pick up a prescription and you've got 5 cars in front of you. Set your timer for 1 minute
Yep.
and just breathe with your eyes closed for 1 minute. If there's 4 cars in front of you, it's not going to make a difference if they move up during that 1 minute and you're still sitting there with a car length in front of you.
Well, and all of that reminds our bodies that
Yep.
that we're safe,
Yeah.
that we're not under attack. And again, calm is so much easier than there's there's no I don't want to say that I don't get triggered or annoyed or frustrated because I
Oh, well,
do.
we're human. We're human.
Right.
I mean, we're here to experience this human existence, and our meat suits still have to respond and react.
Yeah. I mean, there are days where I'll get to the end of the day and I'll just be like, you should not talk to me right now.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
I'm done peopling.
Yep. 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 Absolutely. And yeah, and that's where that shows that you have good boundaries and you know how to speak up for yourself. And that is something else that you teach your clients.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because mindfulness is essential, but taking back our voice and having boundaries and uh, all of that stuff helps to keep, along with the mindfulness, our nervous systems regulated.
Yeah.
And if we don't have boundaries, we're going to feel like the mindfulness is not working because people are going to cross those boundaries and you're just going to, and this is where the woo woo part comes in for me, is like you're going to be taking on all those people's energy because you're letting them cross your boundaries, both, energetically, mentally, emotionally. And you're going to go back into that mindfulness and you're going to be just thinking on those things so much. And so you've got to do all this other stuff too. It's not just that mindfulness part. It's you've got to, take in and heal and grow in all of those areas.
Absolutely. And to be clear, I'm not, 100%. I got my share of woo going on here too. So, but there have been times where I have felt an energy that was like, oh no,
Yeah.
energy's got to go. I smudge my house and my office regularly.
Yep. Yep. You can't just do one part of it. And I think that is something else that a lot of individuals get into the trap of they will do the physical part of it. They'll exercise, they'll eat right. Um, but you ask them, "Hey, are you meditating?" And they're like, "No, I go to the gym." And it's like that's not the same. I mean, you can meditate at the gym, but pumping iron is more of a physical thing. It's not that mindfulness thing, and yeah, you've got to do are you feeling your emotions?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. I'm
Well,
not I'm
and
not opening closets and taking out the skeletons. And it's like, but you gotta.
because they're there
Yeah.
and they want to be heard.
Yep. Yep. They do. So as we bring this conversation to a close, is there anything that, first of all, I want you to share your website and where people can find you. But is there anything that we have not touched on or discussed that you want the listeners to know, to hear, to take in?
I would say if you were going to do one thing, take a breath, check in with yourself, and and do that as often as you're comfortable doing it. But particularly if you start to feel stressed, just take a breath and check in with yourself. And it makes it much easier to look at everything more objectively and with perspective.
Absolutely. And where can people find you?
My website is katherinechestnut.com, but I also have a very active YouTube channel, and I have hundreds of meditations on Insight Timer.
Beautiful. And all of those links will be in the show notes. You guys can just go to the show notes, click the link, and go and take her quiz. It will, taking quizzes gives you so much information about yourself. And it gives you an opportunity to really check in with yourself and be like, is this where I am? Is this where I want to be? So, Katharine, thank you so much for coming on.
Have been delighted to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us on the Metamorphosis Project podcast. I hope today's episode brought you inspiration, joy, and a spark of empowerment. Remember, transformation is an incredible journey, and every single step you take towards self-care and healing brings you closer to the life you truly desire. If this episode uplifted you, please subscribe, rate, and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your support helps us to share this journey of hope, resilience, and joy with many listeners. For more tips, support, and inspiration, come and visit us at designyourexistence.com. Until next time, keep growing, keep healing, and keep shining brightly. You are absolutely worth every bit of love and care you give to yourself. Take care, stay joyful, and be well.